I was reading the GMC report on the state of medical education and practice in the UK for 2021, and one thing they highlighted was how the pandemic had exacerbated the rates of burnout in doctors, particularly GPs. And to be fair with you, I'm not surprised. If I had gone through that, I would be burnt out too. Compared to the 19% of 2020, 23% of doctors this year were intent on leaving the profession, with 7% compared to the 4% of last year taking the hard steps to ensure this happens. One of the major factors the GMC identified was the increasing workload. Here is where we come. The GMC reasoned that utilization of physician associates, anesthesia associates, would be key in alleviating this problem. Hold on. We know what causes the burnout for our siblings. What about us? Will it be the same sort of things that burn us out, or would it be something different? To answer this question, we had to go over the pond and speak to the OGs. They've been around the block for a longer time. If there is any pattern, I think it will be more evident there. Burnout is defined as depersonalization, emotional exhaustion, and a sense of low personal accomplishment. A survey looking at 7,857 PAs in the US found that 21% of them had a certain degree of cynicism towards the profession, asking themselves if it's worthwhile, and about 10% had low personal accomplishment. Now, the word cynicism, I don't really like. It's kind of sugarcoating. What you're trying to say is 21% of these physician associates were jaded. They were having a Drake moment. Yes, I'm hurting. Yes, I'm jaded. I normally sound better during my shows. However, 75% said they were satisfied with their job and they were very pleased in their profession, which is good news. But that still does not answer my initial question. What burns physician associates out? So stay with me. They went to the rural areas and asked physician associates how they felt about their job. Were they burnt out? Were they satisfied? And this is what they found. 64% of them were emotionally exhausted, and 46% of them said they had this sense of low personal accomplishment. A similar picture was seen in emergency, primary care, and in oncology. The setting in which one practices seems also to be a factor. This, they found, was associated with a lack of resources, restricting the type of help one could actually give, which I believe makes sense. Because if you feel there is more you could be doing, but for some reason or the other, your hands are tied, it's only a matter of time till it begins to weigh on your conscience. This is the case of both doctors and PAs. General practice in primary care, I believe, is plagued with this sentiment. The 10 minutes does not cut it. It might cut it if you're in an affluent area, but in a deprived area, the sole appearance of a patient tells you that 10 minutes is not enough. But you have a list to go through, left with this feeling of half-assing it, though that's not what you want. But the time restrictions and the resources available to you do not allow you to give all that you have to give. You cannot be like John Legend. You don't have a time to give all of you. And as one would expect, the more burnt out a person, the more dissatisfied and likely they were to leave the profession. And one interesting thing they also found was that the length of time one had spent practicing, the more likely they were to be jaded, burnt out, dissatisfied, and wanting to leave. Can't blame them. If you've been working for X amount of years, facing the same equine excrements, it's only a matter of time till the butterfly effect sends everything haywire. The researchers also found that for the PAs, their sense of being burnt out was closely tied with how satisfied they were with their supervising physician. That is, if they felt trusted, part of the team, they weren't just a cog in a wheel, they mattered, fully utilized, they were less likely being burnt out. In another survey looking at the satisfaction now, not just being burnt out, 92% of PAs felt they were satisfied with their career, but 82% said they were satisfied with their job. I took a romantic spin to it. To me, it suggested that though you might find yourself in one particular job where you are dissatisfied, the likelihood that this could change if you were just to change your job is very high. Your dissatisfaction is not really reflective of the profession as a whole. I think generally it's accepted that the average patient will not know what physician associates are, and it's our duty to kind of advocate for the role and explain to them what we are, what our limitations are. But when it comes from your own colleagues, or perhaps if your supervisor asks you what are PAs and what do PAs do, they notice was affecting the satisfaction, be it burnout or satisfaction. It seems the role of the supervising clinician has really shaped one's outlook of the profession. This, I think, boils down to the inherent lack of autonomy within the role. Let me explain. From my understanding, physician associates are able to practice due due to the delegation clause. And for a clinician, in this case a doctor, to delegate something to someone, they must ensure this person is capable. Therefore, regardless of your university and the qualification, I want PAs that I supervise to just see B, not because you are incapable of seeing C, Q, X, Y, Z. It's just because that is what they are comfortable with you seeing. Bummer for us, but you can't blame them. It's all hanky-dory, fine and dandy till something goes left. Then everybody looks for someone to blame. Obviously, this varies across the board. If a supervising clinician has spent a number of years supervising PAs and has seen them grow, they are more likely to be trusting than one who hasn't had that same experience with PAs. With time, this will become less problematic, at least I hope. Other things that emerged were increasing bureaucracy and admin. Nobody likes it and it's pissing every clinician off. Physician associates were also complaining that, yeah, sorry, it's not high enough. They better not say this in the UK. I know some junior doctors that will chop your head off for nothing if you were to say that. It's obviously clear there are similarities between ourselves and our siblings when it comes to the things that kill our souls within our professions. However, the inherent difference between the two professions allows for specific triggers. The GMC report did not say this, and neither did the papers over the pond say this. In my honest opinion, the heavyweight stressor of them all is the GMC number. Whatever they do, however they breathe, one thing is always in their mind: how do I not compromise my GMC number? Sooner or later, you and I will also have this around our necks, the chance to figure out how heavy it is. So these are just a few things that were worrying the bros over the pond, causing them some distress, but I wouldn't be surprised if the same picture is found here upon closer inspection. Yes, using physician associates, we could help alleviate some of the burden. All I ask is you make sure you are aware of what will burn us out in the future, because if that is not done, we will get back to square one. You'll have to invent a new profession, associate physician associates, to alleviate the burdens on physician associates. It sounds like a joke now, but the doctors didn't see us coming. You could say, who cares? But in my language, in Twi, we say, Saunam Kwanso. Now who say, Abuebi, Suunia Swa, and Kanchian say, Sorene so, Kasa Soria so, if we so free Swa, or Baoso. Meaning, when you're on the road and you see an animal, a monster, on top of your brother, do not ask that animal to get off your brother. Ask the animal to get off us. Because when it's done with your brother, it's coming to you. So it might not be our turn yet, but whatever is stressing them out, eventually come about and stress us out as well. So please, before you use us as burden relievers, make sure we are not stressed out. It's your boy OT, and I'm out. Salute.